So, Dr. Sandler,
Sir.
you can cure depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And when you're probably
I just gave a little talk about what but I'm also counseling. So last time we saw the second clip of Carla, and we begin to see some of the childhood roots of her anxiety. We see that her father was an alcoholic, that there was a lot of domestic violence in the family between her parents. She and her siblings were growing up in this kind of a chaotic environment. And we see that she puts up a couple defense mechanisms. Right? Denial, isolation of affect. She blocks the feeling from the story because it's such a painful story.
It is, yeah. And you keep egging her to talk more about this. You know, you just don't hear a little bit of clip and then you say, okay, you're done.
I want her to tell the story.
Because you're looking for more. You're looking, like you said, that you're looking for the affect.
Right.
So we'll see whether we get there or not.
You're right. In the next clip, we're just going to see a very short clip. More of the story unfolds about what this young woman grew up with.
Okay, so let's get Carla.
All right. Did you have brothers and sisters?
I did, yeah, I do. Younger brother and younger sister.
Uh-huh.
I would worry about Anthony a lot back then.
You worried about Anthony?
My little brother.
Yeah. Why is that? Why so worried?
My mom would hit him. Never us girls, but she would hit Anthony.
You mean with her hand?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes she would use an electrical cord.
She would hit Anthony with an electrical cord.
Yeah, she would.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
You saw this?
Yeah.
No wonder you're worried about him.
Yeah. I worry about him still now. I mean, if I try and get him on the phone and he doesn't answer, I fear like he had a car accident or...
Oh, you're still worried about Anthony?
Yeah.
After all these years?
Yeah.
Sounds very tough.
Yeah.
As we talk about it again, I notice that you, sometimes you're a little fidgety or you turn your mouth like you're going to bite your lip, but you don't seem to have any particular emotions about all this. It's like it never happened.
It was just so, it was so long ago. Yeah.
That sounds pretty awful.
It was, yeah, we were scared all the time.
Scared all the time.
So another piece from Dr. Sandler's book, Tea with Freud. Same case, Carla. Great acting, Steve. We are still going on, and
she was good.
She was good,
yeah.
And so we saw more of the memory, right? So what do you think that we saw in this clip?
Well, she tells us that her brother was physically abused by her mother. Another horrible piece of the background. What I like to point out to trainees is that when she tells me this, I react. I say, he was hit with an electrical cord, as if to say that's terrible. And a lot of people think that anybody who does dynamic therapy based on Freud's early work is sitting like a block of wood. I doubt Freud ever sat like that, by the way. There's an interesting book of interviews with older people who had been in analysis with Freud himself, and I don't think he was like that. But people think that she's going to say that, and I'm going to sit there and say, so your brother was abused. That's not how psychotherapy should be done. I think we should show the patient that we're having a very human reaction, that this is a terrible story, because she grew up thinking, well, this is life, this is normal, and no one stopped that chaos to turn to this little girl and say, honey, we're so sorry, we should not be drinking and fighting, it must be very upsetting for you, and we're going to stop. Nobody tended to her feelings. So she probably expects that she's going to tell this horrible story and I'm going to have no reaction. I want her to see I'm having a reaction. That I think is important.
I think it's very important. I remember, when I was a resident and I was having this psychotherapy supervision, and with one of the supervisors, I forget the actual case, but it came up, and I said something like I smiled or joked or something, and he just stopped me, and for 1 hour we talked about that, about self-revelation.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I checked the literature. I went to the library actually, and I checked with it, and I thought that self-revelation is a huge thing, whether to do it or not do it. So maybe we can have a full table of that sometime. But it is a huge deal, and the fact that you are doing it within a dynamic perspective is actually big.
Oh yeah. Some of our old supervisors would have me shot for doing this. You're not supposed to show anything. You're supposed to be a neutral, a blank screen.
Yes.
And Freud wrote that. Again, I doubt he ever did it, but he wrote that the analyst should be a neutral person, a blank screen, and not interfere with what the patient is saying. But I think to sit there like a block of wood gives the patient a message, right? Like, this guy doesn't care. He's probably thinking about doing his laundry or what he's going to have for dinner. I want the person to know I'm having a reaction, and I am. It's not fake. I mean, when I heard this story, it's very disturbing. As you know, some of the things we listen to. So why not let the patient know that I'm a human being and I find your story very disturbing, very upsetting, and I feel some compassion for you.
Oh, good. That's interesting. So we started off, with the symptoms, anxiety, irritability, right? And you had in mind feelings. That's what your work was. You're like a surgeon. You're having pain and you think tumor. That's kind of thing. So and you keep going. You have the nervous laughter covering the feelings. That's what you're saying. That denial of feelings, isolation of affect, and so you're going after and after. So do you think that you got there by now, or
not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
So even when she said that I was scared and we were scared, that's not actually what you're looking for.
Right. That's just the root of the anxiety that she has as an adult. Right.
So
I would assume that there's some grief behind all this chaos in her childhood, some anger at her parents for acting like this.
So let's see whether we get there. Some grief, anger, those are two big things that people try to hide, right? Or not hide, I should say, that suppress or repress.
They seem to be the two emotions that emerge first in therapy. When you have a breakthrough of affect, either grief or anger, or grief mixed with some compassion for oneself. That's what we see, and in the next tape we'll see where this goes.
And anger is a difficult emotion. It's not easy to master.
Especially anger at people that we love. Right? Because it is potentially such a destructive emotion. You don't want to feel it towards people that you love. Right.
So, either people stuff it in or they have these explosions and then they think that this is wrong, that anger should not be done to do. So
anger gets a bad name.
Anger gets a bad name. Because it is tough, I think. It is a tough emotion. It's a destructive, like you say.
Absolutely.
So let's see where we get, whether we get there and where we get in the next tape. So more of Carla. Keep watching.
I just gave it